Hello, so today we're going to be talking about the concentric only split jerk. This version of the split jerks begins in a quarter squat position with the bar at the chest. There should be slight knee flexion and a slight hip hinge. Here I should have more hip hinge. From here I will rapidly jerk the bar and bring my feet into a split position. In my split position, I should have 60 to 70% of my weight on my front heel, with my feet 1.5 to 2 feet in between each other. As you can see, my knee is in line with my foot. I do need to square my hips and have slightly more lumbar extension. After I settle in the split position, I correct myself into the correct position, but here you can see I still need to square my hips. But you can see there is more lumbar extension, and my arms are more behind my head, which is the correct position for a split jerk. To bring the bar back, I push back with my front foot and step my feet together. This rep, I begin with more hip hinge, which will allow me to use more power on the way up. In my starting position, I also need to bring my elbows higher to give myself a better starting bar pack. This time when I jerk, I have more lumbar extension and more weight is on my front foot. Some common errors in the split jerk, like me, is not squaring the hips. This will not allow the appropriate amount of stretch in the hip flexors, which is a goal in the split jerk, as well as hip flexion speed. Another common error is the arms being too far in front, which can signify tight lats, and here you can see me correct myself once I'm in the position. In my last split jerk, you can see that I'm still not squaring my hips, but in my initial position, you can see I have better lumbar extension without arching my back. The stretch shortening cycle split jerk, we begin in an upright position, we dip into knee and hip flexion, and then straight into slight hip extension and fast, rapid hip flexion to drop into our lunge and push the bar over our head as we drop under the bar. The first issue I had in the stretch shortening split jerk was when I would go into my hip and knee flexion, my elbows would drop. This is because the lats attach to the pelvis, and when you shorten that, the lats will pull the elbows down. When my elbows start down, it's going to be harder for me to get my arms behind my ears, which is the proper positioning for the split jerk. Here you can see higher elbows in my starting position, which leads to me getting my arms behind my ears initially and without having to correct myself. Like my concentric only split jerk, I was having a hard time squaring my hips. So here, Dr. Watson corrects me to square my hips. This allows me to get the deep stretch in my hip flexor in my lunge position. You also see I was corrected to bring my back heel to the ground, which will allow for better stability and stretching in the calf.